this regular meeting of the Springdale City Council. This is Tuesday, December 13th, 2022. And I'll ask our city clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Sprouse.
Here.
Brian Powell.
Here.
Amelia Williams.
Here.
Jeff Watson. Mike Overton.
Here.
Mike Lawson.
Here.
Rex Bailey.
Present.
Randall Harriman. Mark Fugierus.
Here.
Ernest Kay.
Here.
All right, thank you. We're at item 4 on the agenda. This is the portion of each meeting that the council sets aside to hear comments from our citizens. If we have residents that would like to address the council, we ask that you go to the podium, clearly state your name and address, and please keep your comments brief, understanding that the council won't take action on anything you bring forward tonight. Is there anyone that would like to address the council concerning an item that's not already on tonight's agenda? All right, thank you. Seeing none, we'll move on to the approval of minutes. Council, you've had opportunity to look over the minutes. If there are no changes or additions, I'd entertain a motion to approve them as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Item 6, what's your pleasure on procedural motions, council?
I'll move for A and B.
Motion is second for A and B. Roll call, please.
Powell.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson. Overton.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey. Fugierus.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right, thank you. We're going to now take a few moments and do an employee recognition. Ernest is on his way up, and I'm coming.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, as you know, the mayor's office has started a new tradition, which I think is a great thing, where we each month honor an employee of the city of Springdale. And this month, the city attorney's office was selected, and I kind of feel like Eric Musselman in that I've got a really deep and talented roster, many of whom are here tonight. So, but I do want to single out Senior Deputy City Attorney Taylor Samples for recognition tonight. And I want to keep it brief, but I do want to give him proper credit because you may not know, but back in 2020 when the pandemic hit and we had to close the city administration building to the public, Taylor and his prosecution team continued to deal with cases. They even settled traffic tickets in the parking lot. They were in the back of pickup trucks calling the docket, which was very important to keep, and Judge Harper will tell you, this was very important in keeping the wheels of justice moving, because when we reopened, the benefit of that was, besides the fact that it was a benefit to our citizens, was that we didn't have a backlog of cases like most courts did when they reopened. So that was very beneficial. Then last year, when we had to vacate the old city administration building to make way for the new building, the city attorney's office is actually, it's been what, 16 months, 17 months that we've actually been housed in 2 different locations. There's 4 of us are up the street near the mayor's office, close to the administration, and then there are 6 members of our staff that are scattered in different offices throughout this building until the new building is complete. We weren't sure how it was going to work, but it's worked really well. I believe we've been able to maintain our level of services to our residents, and Taylor is a big part of that. He's led the team over here. While we've been in 2 different locations, I've found that I don't have to come over here very often, which I'm very happy about because it's quite a little walk. But even while we've been in 2 different locations, Taylor has had to interview, hire, and train a new file discovery clerk, and interview, hire, and train a new deputy city attorney while we've been in 2 different locations. So that's why, just 2 of the reasons why I wanted to single him out for recognition tonight. I know he's a man of few words, unlike his father, but and I know I see Taylor's family here, and like I said, I see members of our staff here, and I appreciate y'all coming. So Taylor, come on up. Good job.
Well, thanks. You guys are giving me the floor here, so I want to take a little bit of time. First of all, I want to thank Mayor Sprouse and the city council. Thanks for your leadership. Springdale is the greatest city to live in the state of Arkansas, and that's in large part from what you guys have done all these years. Some of you I've known since I've started here back in 2011. you've always been very good to me, and I really appreciate that. You've made me feel right at home here in Springdale. I want to thank Ernest. Ernest, thank you for your leadership, for your intellect, for your organization. What you do, without you, we could not have success at our office. And thank you very much for that. I want to thank you for letting me to continue to grow as an employee and giving me some freedom and things to do. And I really appreciate that. Here's my crew. Brandy, if you would stand up, please. And here's Laney, my smallest. Here's Lee. And my oldest boy, Braden, is at basketball practice tonight, or else he would be here. So thank you, Brandy, for being patient with me. Thank you for what you do for our family. I couldn't do this without you. My parents are here. Where are you, parents? Anyway, if you don't like me, right here, take it up with them. They raised me. So unfortunately, fortunately, when I turned 40, I had to stop using that excuse. But in all seriousness, hey, thanks, guys, for always trying to steer me right. And I appreciate it, and I'm blessed having y'all as my parents. Judge Harper, thank you. Where you at, sir? You hired me back in 2011, January 2011. You gave me an opportunity, even though in that same conversation you told me, hey, I like you, you're a good kid, but if you can't do this job, I'm going to fire you. So, but hey, I always appreciate you up front and your honesty on that. But in all seriousness, goodness, I've learned so much from just watching you over the years. You're the embodiment of a true public servant and on how to treat people fairly. And I'm very fortunate to have watched you as prosecutor and judge. So it's been a pleasure working alongside you. And Ernest talked about the COVID pandemic. So that's a good segue for me. I believe COVID started in March of 20. Is that right? And we kept a presence at arraignment every day through November of 20. And in doing so, we never hesitated. We never batted an eye. We never wondered how this might hurt us. From the first meetings with Judge Harper and the other leaders on how to keep court going, we were all in, no questions asked. David Phillips, Sarah Sparkman, Steve Helms over here, myself, we daily directly deal with individual defendants who were set on the court docket. That way they didn't have to wonder, where's my case going to go? Is it going to get lost in some black hole? We were able to keep court going. And I think for those of you who know us, you know that's how we are. Whether we're prosecuting in district court on a weekly basis, we're handling a jury trial on a circuit court appeal, preparing the hundreds of affidavits to obtain arrest warrants for the police department, settling the approximately 1,000 traffic tickets for the citizens of Springdale who walk in on their time, and we go do that. Talking to someone about their coat or their dog ticket, we're always up for the task. And I just want to say a few words individually about some of us here. David Phillips, if you would stand up for just a minute, David, and then you can sit right back down if you want. David handles the district court trial docket once monthly. He has a strong presence at arraignment, particularly on the code and animal tickets. He's the animal shelter's go-to attorney for their questions. He puts together the articles for the city attorney law letter. That's the quarterly publication summary of cases that we put out to the police department. He's got a strong work ethic. He's not afraid of a challenge. He's an invaluable part of what we do here, and been here about a decade. And want to thank you, David, for that. It's been a real pleasure to work with you that whole time. Steve Helms, I want to point out Steve. Many of you know him. He's hiding in the corner there. A lot of you know this. He is the former chief of police at Rogers, and I think you've been here 13 years, Steve. Is that right? I know you're 1 year ahead of me. He serves subpoenas. He mails letters to defendants when we get a warrant issued on them. He investigates passing stop school bus tickets, and he coordinates district court witnesses on a weekly basis. Steve is a gentleman and a true professional. He treats everyone with dignity and respect, oftentimes in difficult situations. Steve, I've learned so much just from watching you personally over the years, just how gentle and kind you treat people. And truly the intangibles, and Springdale's very fortunate to have you. Garrett Harlan, would you stand up for a second? And then you can sit right back down if you want. Garrett's been here for almost a year. He's smart. He's a hard worker. He's highly motivated to learn. He's a fast thinker on his feet. He's got a great attitude, and he does what is asked of him. We're very happy to have you here, Garrett. Look forward to continuing to work with you. Thank you for a great first year. Giselle is not here. She's our victim advocate. She started in October of 20. She came to us from Bethel Heights. We stole her once we consolidated there. She's our victim advocate case coordinator. She keeps up with domestic violence arrest, and daily she speaks to victims who are either wanting information on a court date, they're wanting no contact orders dropped, they're oftentimes wanting charges dropped altogether. She's got a great attitude and work ethic, and we are very fortunate to have her. Lastly, Sasha, would you please stand up here? Sasha started in August of 22. She's our discovery clerk. She prepares around 300 files each month to give to us prosecutors and also to send out discovery to the defendants. She's shown herself to be timely, organized, efficient, smart in preparing files. She's very professional with a good attitude, and without Sasha doing her job, our operation completely goes off the rails. So thank you, Sasha. I look forward to continuing to work with you as well. To conclude, we got a great team here. Everyone knows our role. We're willing to do the task at hand to get the job done. No one here needs to be the hero, but all the people I've mentioned to you are excellent people and employees. They're a huge asset to the city of Springdale. Thank you again, Mayor, for coming up with this, allowing us to be acknowledged. Thank you guys again for your leadership. It's truly been an honor for me to be here for the last 12 years working for the city of Springdale.
And I've got something for Taylor. By the way, for a man, a few words, he just gave the longest acceptance speech of this recognition.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Always been great to work with. We appreciate Taylor so much, and he's well deserving of this. And on behalf of the city of Springdale, please accept that small token of our appreciation.
Yes, sir.
And thank you very much.
Thank
Join
you.
me in thanking Taylor.
And Junior Samples didn't even flash his telephone number.
That's great. Thank you. All right. Back to the agenda now. We're at appointments and reappointments. We've got a few of those. I'll go ahead and read each of these. 8A is a resolution approving an appointment to the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority, the City of Springdale. I don't think we're actually appointing two Housing Authority members tonight. And let me get back to my agenda. This one, I believe, has to be a resident member, right?
The first one is,
Yeah, the first one, and this is Cassie Mancia. Does Cassie happen to be here? I don't know if either of these are here tonight. I know that Derek Gibson's here as a board member, board chair. So I've read the resolution. We got a motion, a second to approve the resolution. All those in favor, please say aye. Huh? Oh, that's right. I gotta do a roll call. I gotta do a roll call.
Williams,
Yes.
Watson. Overton.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey. Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell.
carry 7-0.
I remembered that before Taylor started talking. Item B is a resolution approving an appointment to the Board of Commissioners of the Housing Authority of the City of Springdale. This is Laura Epps. Does Laura happen to be here? Okay, I've read the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion, a second to approve the resolution. Roll call, please.
Watson. Overton.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey. Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell. Williams.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
Good deal. Thank you. Item C is a resolution reappointing Mitchell Johnson to another term to the Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport Authority. Got a motion, a second to approve the resolution. Roll call, please.
Overton.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey. Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell. Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Carry 7-0.
And on behalf of the council and the city of Springdale, as always, I want to thank each of those individuals who are stepping up and being willing to serve in those positions. Item 9, Planning Commission report and recommendations by Patsy Christie, Director of Planning and Community Development. Patsy?
The first item on the agenda is the revised or the updated downtown master plan. I'm very happy to present this document to you. We've been working on it for about a year now. If you'll remember, back in October, Tim Brehan with H3 Studios was here, did a presentation on all the major portions of this. This is the final document. This is what it looks at. You have it in your packet. I do want to say that H3 did a great job. They established a very good plan for us, the previous one. They came back to us. They highlighted the things that we've accomplished out of that plan, and I'm very proud of the things that we've done since 2015. We've accomplished a lot. And they helped us work forward to continue what we're doing and to help continue the revitalization in downtown and to address some issues that we think are very important. Housing being one of them, to make sure that we provide a variety of housing in downtown to support the downtown itself. We have good businesses, but we need housing and we need a wide variety. And they helped us develop a way to provide incentives that will be coming back to you with an amendment to our form-based code in the future to allow incentives to make sure we maintain workforce housing in downtown so that the people who live and work down here the people who work down here will have a place to live as well. They helped us address another issue which we think is important is the parking aspect. We've all worked, and I've been working for this for 25 years to make sure we have a parking problem in downtown Springdale. And we're beginning to see people come back and we have some parking issues. But we don't want to wait till the last minute to address them. And so that was one of the other things that they addressed in this is that element of how do we deal with the parking? How do we continue to move forward and contain that? I want to thank Jill and the Downtown Springdale Alliance. They were a partner in this development of this plan by developing a citizen input plan that really brought, well, we had over 1,300 residents and stakeholders in downtown Springdale participate in this. And you know, I've been working in planning a long time, and when you do a plan update, if you get 4 or 5 people to show up and tell you something, you think you've done really well. But the first one, we had great turnout, and that same enthusiasm is here for this one, and I think that speaks well for Springdale as a whole and what's going on in downtown. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the Walton Family Foundation and the Tyson Family Foundation because they both believed in it enough to help support and pay for a third of the cost of doing this. So I think we're in a great position to move forward, to continue our work in downtown and make downtown Springdale the heart of Northwest Arkansas. I will always say that. Springdale is the heart of Northwest Arkansas. It always has been and always will be. But I can answer any questions. If anybody has any questions, what we have is a resolution, which is simply a resolution adopting a revised downtown master plan for the city of Springdale.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second to approve the resolution. Are there any other questions or comments? Anyone? All right, Denise?
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey. Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson. Overton.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right, thank you. And Jill's here and some other members of the DSA.
Yep.
And certainly want to thank you all for your hard work, and we're excited about this new version of our downtown master plan. Go ahead, Jill.
I'd just like to say on behalf of the DSA board, I really appreciate the city leadership. We could not do what we're doing if y'all haven't been doing what you've been doing for a long time. So the leadership is deep here, and it shows in the work that's happening now and will continue for the future. So thank you very, very much, all of you.
Thank you, Jill. It's exciting times.
Now we roll up our sleeves and go through the next 7 years, so maybe it'll be as good or better than it was in the last 7 years. We kind of
Right.
set the bar high, so we got a lot of work to do in the next few years to make sure we stay on the same track that we were on before. Okay, moving on. The next item is a rezoning request to rezone 3.25 acres located at 1268 J Row Lane. The request is to rezone the property from Agricultural District A1 to Institutional District P1. The Planning Commission reviewed this request and recommends approval of the rezoning request. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto by rezoning certain lands from Agricultural District A1 to Institutional District P1 and declaring an emergency.
Can you explain what P1 is?
P1 is an institutional zone that allows schools and churches and those kind of things. And this property is being, you might note, it's being bought by the Central Baptist Church of Fayetteville.
Was there another zoning that allowed churches? I don't
Churches are
remember.
allowed as conditional uses in other zones. This is the only zoning classification that sets them aside just for institutional schools, hospitals, those kind of things.
Thank you.
I think all of our schools are P1 now.
And most of the city's
and most-
properties,
And most
P1.
churches.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
What it does for us is if you look at the land use plan and you're trying to figure out how much commercial land we have yet left to use, and church takes up a large portion of it, and it's still C2, it skews your numbers. So we take all of those institutional things out of there, so we really have a better feel for what we have available for commercial development or any of the others that it's a conditional use in.
Move the ordinance pass.
Second.
Was that a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Anyone else need to speak to this? Okay, Denise?
Bailey?
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Move the merge clause be adopted.
Second.
Fugierus?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey?
Yes, ma'am.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carries 7-0.
And as usual, we have emergency clauses because there's pending action on each of these applications. The next item is a request to rezone 4 acres located at 3701 Johnson Road. The request is to rezone the property from Light Industrial District I-1 to General Commercial District C2. Planning Commission reviewed this request and recommends approval. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, by rezoning certain lands from Light Industrial District I-1 to General Commercial District C2 and declaring an emergency. And Heather, is this okay if I? Okay. And this property belongs to Tyson, and what they're looking to do is take this facility and turn it into a daycare facility for their employees. And a daycare is not allowed in an I-1 zone, so we rezone it to C2. And I think that'll be a great service to the residents of Springdale and the employees of Tawnytown to have quality daycare that close together.
Move the ordinance be adopted.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any other questions or comments? Anyone? Roll call, please.
Powell?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey?
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus?
Yes.
Move the merge clause be adopted.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey?
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carries 7-0.
The next request is to rezone .92 acres located at 2145 North 48th Street. The request is to rezone the property from Agricultural District A1 to Low Medium Density Single Family Residential District SF2. Planning Commission reviewed this request and recommends approval of the rezoning request. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, by rezoning certain lands from Agricultural District A1 to Low Medium Density Single Family Residential District SF2 and declaring an emergency.
Move the ordinance be adopted.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any other questions or comments? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes,
Bailey?
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Move the merge clause be adopted.
Second.
Overton?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey?
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carries 7-0.
The next request is to rezone 3.4 acres located at 3895 George Anderson Road, and it's a request to rezone the property from an institutional district P1 to neighborhood office district O1. This is a little bit, we're going the other direction. This entire piece of property was rezoned years ago for Youth Bridge. They were looking at putting a new facility at that location. The property around it has since been sold and is being developed for residential. But this little area here, we have an organization that wants to open an office in it. So an O1 would allow it to go back to residential use or be an O1 planning commission, rather than creating a pocket of commercial in the middle of all of this residential zoning around it. Setting up an O1 gives them some more flexibility, so the planning commission recommends approval. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance amending ordinance number 3307, the same being the zoning ordinance of the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and the plat pertaining thereto, by rezoning certain lands from institutional district P1 to neighborhood office district O1 and declaring an emergency.
And they can't do anything but offices
That's
in
correct.
O1.
And the offices, now this building is, the existing building is a little larger than 5,000 square feet, so it will be a non-conforming building size, but it can only be used for an office or single family, that's all. It was used as a residence for some Youth Bridge when it was there, so they're converting it to offices now.
Okay. And
there-
it can no longer be used as residence once it's converted?
Well, in O1 zone, it could be used still as single family. It gives the option of offices not to exceed 5,000 square feet or a single-family home. Those are the only two choices that it has available.
Does O1 have the signage restrictions?
Yes, and it has the signage restrictions
Okay.
as well. Yes.
Okay, Patsy's read the ordinance. We have a,
Move the ordinance pass.
Second.
okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. If there's no other questions, I'll ask Denise to call for the vote.
Lawson. Bailey. Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second?
Bailey. Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
The next request is a replat of the Biari Business Park. This park was platted with a very narrow strip on the west side of the street, adjacent to the property to the west, which wouldn't allow anyone to access that street. So now it's being asked to replat it, and that being detached from this subdivision to be allowed to attach to a new preliminary plat for a subdivision that's to the west of this. All of the property owners in this existing subdivision was willing to allow this to go, and so this is a replat to take that small strip out and put it into a new subdivision that will be adjacent to it on the west. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance accepting the replat of the Biari Business Park to the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency.
Move the ordinance pass.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey.
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second?
Powell.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey. Fugierus.
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
The next request is to replat of Lot 1 of Block 4 of Sam's Addition. What this will do is divide that Lot 1 into a Lot 1A and one Lot B. Planning Commission reviewed this request. The title of the ordinance reads, an ordinance accepting the replat of Lot 1, Block 4 of Sam's Club Addition in the city of Springdale, Arkansas.
Make a motion the ordinance pass?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any other questions or comments? Anyone in the room? Hey, Denise?
Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey. Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
There's
Sure.
none.
There an emergency clause on this?
There's not on our.
If there's not one on there, this comes from the engineering firms, and so if it doesn't have one on there, then they didn't ask for an emergency clause.
It does show one on the,
Oh, it's just not in the title?
it's not on the title.
Okay. Can we go ahead and,
I'll make a
approve.
motion that the emergency clause pass.
Second.
Watson.
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey. Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
The next item is a ordinance to accept the final plat of Haberton Ridge Phase 2 and 3 in the city of Springdale. This is a little bit different in that this final plat is being allowed to move forward because before the time that all of the water and sewer facilities have been completed. The Water and Sewer Commission approved this final plat with the developer to provide a 150% guaranteed bond for improvements to the sanitary sewer pump. The cost of the bond shall be reviewed and approved by the staff of the Springdale Water Utilities prior to issue. The engineer of the project shall supply a detailed breakdown of construction items remaining and associated cost. The owner and developer shall supply a copy of the contract for construction for the sanitary sewer pump station. The final plat shall include language indicating that the sanitary sewer pump station is incomplete at the time of final plat and that no dwelling shall receive a certificate of occupancy until all of the items of construction related to water and sewer improvements are 100% complete at the sole discretion and determination of the Springdale Water Utilities. And I can tell you, we don't do this very often, and I can't tell you, I don't think we've ever let someone bond for a lift station in the past.
Patsy, does that lift station just cover this subdivision?
Yeah. All standard conditions for approval and acceptance of the water and sewer improvements shall remain as required in addition to what I just talked about. The other thing that this does, once this final plat is approved, once that bond is received, plumbing permits cannot be issued until the water utility has already set meters due to incompletion of the sanitary sewer improvements per the city ordinance. So the final plat may be approved, can be signed, can be filed, lots can be sold, but the only permit they can get up to this point until the water department is ready to set meters is foundations. So we want everybody to know that up front. This is a very unique situation. So with all those caveats, the Planning Commission recommends approval of this, and the title of the ordinance is an ordinance accepting the final plat of Haberton Ridge Phase 2 and 3 in the city of Springdale, Arkansas, declaring an emergency. And there's some other staff comments. They have to provide bonds and all of the standard stuff, but those were the ones that really need to be identified and placed in the minutes too.
And when will the water department be able to kind of lift that moratorium on developers out east?
Okay, I can't answer that question for you. That's something different. This is just because this one lift station is not completed, so they can move this one forward. It has nothing to do with any of the other stuff, yeah.
Can you think of any downsides to us doing this tonight?
I don't think it's a precedent we want to start. I think there's, we normally do not move it to final plat unless all those improvements are in place so that once a lot is sold, a builder can come and pick up a permit and start building, and those houses can be sold when it's done.
The hammer is the C of O. If they can't get the C of O, they can't move in.
That's correct. Right now, they can't get even a permit to start because the water meter has to be set too, and so it's kind of a ripple effect.
Right.
So I wouldn't recommend that we do this very often. I can tell you that up front because it just creates another wrinkle for us to have to take care of and watch as we move forward.
So what's their argument to convince us to do it?
So they can sell lots.
Well, so everybody's gonna wanna do that,
Yep.
right? So
I can't say that won't happen.
if it's a good thing not to set a precedent, I'm not sure how this is different from what the next one's gonna be like.
They convinced the Water and Sewer Commission to let it happen, and they really kind of have the
So what if
burden of
some-
getting this done.
What if something happened and they couldn't get the bond or some catastrophic happened, what would happen? if
It
we
just sits
passed
there like
this?
it is. It's not final. We won't sign. I'm the last person to sign, and I will not sign until the Water and Sewer Department has the bond in place. And if they forfeit the bond, then I guess the Water and Sewer Department has to bring somebody in and finish out the lift station and move forward with it if they default on the bond. That's usually how that works.
Was planning unanimous?
I believe so.
I think they were.
And it was 8-1, as a matter of fact.
And the developer's representative was there and
anyone
understood.
here?
Yeah, I mean,
Area.
we've made it
Yeah.
very clear.
Yeah.
It was in all the planning commission minutes. It will be in there, and again, it's on here, and those notes will have to be on the plat. So anyone buying into this subdivision will know that from day one, because it will be on the plat itself when we get to the point for it to be signed. and the note there that you can't get permits. I mean, we've done everything that we can to protect that to happen if we let this thing move forward like this.
Well, I really don't know anything about how this subdivisions work. My only concern is, you're saying it's not a good idea to set a precedent. But then again, this is not really a special case, so it seems to me like it is gonna set a precedent. So,
I'm not going to argue with you.
And that might be more of a question for the Water and Sewer
Yeah.
Commission.
Yeah.
Because again, it's a minimum standards analysis, and if
Right.
Water and Sewer is letting them do this, then that meets the minimum standards.
Jason
We
may
don't
want
like
to talk
it,
about
but
the special
I'm sorry,
circumstances.
can you explain what you just said, Ernest?
On a plat consideration, the analysis is whether or not the plat meets the minimum standards of the city. And in this particular case, the Water and Sewer Commission has allowed them to bond for the construction of the lift station in order to meet that particular minimum standard, which is not something we normally do. But that's their decision,
They're meeting the city's standards.
correct?
What's brought to the council is meeting the city's standards.
I don't know if they've ever turned down a similar request before, but this is the first one that's actually made it this far.
I haven't seen any other that were allowed to bond for a lift station or for any sewer improvements for that matter.
Do you have something to add,
Now, there
Jason?
may be some, some lines and stuff that they let them bond for, but nothing as extensive as this.
Right, I mean, this is the first time that we've asked the Water and Sewer Commission to bond any sort of improvements in this fashion. Special circumstances, this does have a lift station. We did have equipment delays trying to get all the parts and pieces of the lift station to the site and installed. The lift station's is about 70%. Wet wells up, backfill's happening. So we basically just have to place all the equipment.
So what does the
Once it's
bond
on
do?
site.
What does the bond guarantee?
That it gets done.
That the lift station gets done?
Right.
Yes, the remaining parts of the infrastructure, all of the water and sewer mains are installed, been tested, approved. It's just the lift station, and then there's a short force main that, it's gotta be tested once the lift station's up and operational. Street's been paved, everything out there is in order, that's the lift station. I will say, if it's a lift station conversation, there's not that many lift stations in the city. Most developments are on a gravity system.
Don't require.
And they don't have a specific lift station for their subdivision.
And the force main's big enough to carry that?
Yes. There's about 75 lots in there. I think it's a 4-inch force main. But it just basically goes from the lift station, which is in the southeast corner, to a manhole that's on the eastern side of the subdivision. So it's not a very long force main.
Has the information from the engineer been given to the water department to determine the bonding amount yet?
We have not.
Okay, it wasn't as of last Friday, and so unless they've done it the last couple of days. But none of this will be signed until, if you approve it tonight, none of this will happen until we see that that bond is in place.
So
And,
is this at the very east end of Don Tyson?
Yes.
yeah, you see where we are there, yeah.
And so there, in this, final plat, there is an extension of Don Tyson?
The extension to Don Tyson's already been done. I don't think they're extending it any
Well,
further.
I'm just looking at the drawing on,
They're dedicating right of way, but they're not doing any actual more improvements to Don Tyson Parkway, are you?
Jeff, we don't see Don Tyson extending further.
well, I'm just wondering what this white, it looks like a street up here at the top of the yellow thing.
Let me go back and see.
Yeah, we may have street improvements to Don Tyson on our side.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got street improvements on their
Yeah.
side, see? Just to the eastern edge of that.
This is probably as far as Don Tyson will go east for the
For a long
foreseeable
time.
future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit bigger picture.
Unless we
And,
wanna
and
put a
they have
tunnel
a
through that mountain.
access off of Don Tyson to create a parking area for that, green space that's up there in that corner.
So Jason, you said the lift station's 70% done?
Yeah, and all the equipment has been ordered. It's arriving daily. It's just hasn't made it.
Y'all are just with the supply chain issues, and you're just trying to get as ahead of the game as you can, and move it on. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, if we, general kind of guideline from the water department, all improvements have to be 100% before they'll sign a plat, so.
Yeah.
Try to make this happen sooner than later.
They do have some trails they have to finish before we sign it too.
The timeline on completion of the lift station doesn't change with this.
Well, it has to be completed with whatever the bond says. And they will determine that they're supposed to give a schedule to go with it, plus show that they have all the equipment and when they anticipate having it completed. But we don't have any of that information because it hasn't been submitted to the water department yet.
I mean, I'll tell you, there is a sense of urgency to get it complete. I mean, we can't start, basically can't start houses until the lift station's complete, so, we understand the circumstances and the conditions based on the plan.
What's your pleasure, council? You've read the resolution.
I move the ordinance be adopted. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any other questions or comments? Anyone in the room? Okay, Denise?
Overton,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey,
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
As emergency clause.
Move the merge clause be adopted.
Second.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey,
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0.
The next item is a resolution addressing street improvements for Next Air Elemental Properties that's going on in at, I don't know what the address is.
It's 71, or North Thompson.
Yeah, it's North Thompson. Yeah,
Yeah, it's where the old KBRS used to be.
right. They're doing the street improvements, but that is a state highway. That's a section that doesn't have curb and gutter. The State Highway Department controls that. Planning Commission reviewed this request, recommends approval of the waiver of 2553 North Thompson. I finally saw
What's
it.
going in there?
It is a place that provides oxygen. You can bring in, have oxygen tanks and those kind of things at that location.
And who's doing that?
This is the company.
Yeah,
think
I thought
got-
we had some elevations.
Yeah,
at
we
Planning
have
Commission.
some, that's what it's going to look like.
So the only street that we're dealing with is 71 Business.
Right, that's
Yes.
correct. And they're going to put the sidewalk on their property. They're not asking to waive the sidewalk. They're just not doing any street improvements. It's got a ditch section, it's got a shoulders. I don't think the highway department would let them do anything else. The title of the resolution reads, a resolution approving a waiver of street improvements, drainage, curbs, gutters, as set forth in ordinance number 3725 to Next Air Elemental Properties LLC in connection with L 2269, a large-scale development, and it's option 1.
Move the resolution pass with option 1.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, Denise?
Bailey,
Yes.
Fugierus,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Carry 7-0.
The next request is a request for waiver of street improvements in connection with a large-scale L2270 for start events, air conditioning and heating. They're adding a small building to this location. They're asking for a waiver of street improvements to Butterfield Coach and Emma Avenue. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the waiver. The title of the resolution reads, a resolution approving waiver of street improvements, drainage, curbs, gutters, and sidewalks set forth in ordinance number 3725 to start events, air conditioning and heating in connection with L 2270, a large-scale development plan.
Move the resolution be adopted.
With option 1?
Option 1.
Is that your motion, Rex? Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the waiver, the option 1. Any other comments or questions? Anyone in the room? Okay, Denise?
Fugierus,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey,
Carry 7-0.
The next one is a request for a waiver of street improvements, drainage, curbs, gutters, and sidewalks with well, actually, it's just sidewalks because that's all that would be required with a single-family dwelling that's being built at 7642 and 7660 West Gibbs Street. Planning Commission recommends approval of it with option 1. And I read the title too. There's sidewalks on the other side of the street coming in with the subdivision that's over there.
I'm sorry, what were you saying about sidewalks on the other side of the street?
There's a sidewalk on the other side of the street because that property's being developed and they're putting a sidewalk in on the other side of the street. And there's not any other sidewalks on that side of the street.
I'm sure we're on top of this as far as the drainage and whatever they're doing on that lot, because that's been
It's been an
a
issue and
problem. Yeah,
I think we've had lots of discussions.
Is it curbed? Is there a curb there?
no.
And there is a big drainage that comes down the side of that piece of property. There's a drainage easement that brings the,
Public Works just did some
Yeah.
resurfacing of Gibbs along there, add some crown to help some of those folks on the west, or on the
east side. Yeah.
James, did y'all, how far down did y'all go? How far north did you go? Yeah. Just to the end of that subdivision. Okay.
So if there's drainage issues, why would the planning commission,
Well, the drainage issues is not caused by this project. The drainage issues is because of the development on the other side. And there's a drainage easement that goes down that takes this on down to a bigger drainage easement. They have a detention pond in that Cadence Crossing. Is that Cadence Crossing? Does that sound right? Yeah. There's a detention pond in there, and then it comes across the street and goes down the side. They got a drainage easement down through there.
so drainage wouldn't help that at all?
No. And there's another house on there that has some drainage that comes into their driveway, and we've talked about that some. And
I think the bigger issue, Amelia, that I was talking to is you've got a lot of water on the east side that goes in between those houses that front on Gibbs and that subdivision, those houses on Brandon's Loop. And there's been, whatever happens further, that flows to the north and then to the northeast, into Elmdale Lake. But I'm sure engineering and everybody's taking care of, whatever he does on that property, they're watching that to make sure they don't.
Ben's been looking
Yeah,
at this one.
Yeah, and Ben couldn't be here tonight. I asked him to go to the highway department meeting, so that's why he's not here. But they're look, I just wanted to be sure that was noted, that, yeah. Okay, did we get a
And
motion?
This is what it looks at like out down through there too.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
With option one?
Option one.
We got a.
Second.
And a second, okay. All right, any other comments or questions? Okay, Denise?
Powell,
Yes.
I'm the owner of that property.
Uh-huh,
I'm Jose Ballesteros, and I'm the owner of the property. And I'd like to know if I can leave that driveway with a gravel driveway like it is for now.
They can't deal with that.
No, that's
You're
a-
the planning commission.
we're just dealing with the street improvements, waiver of the street improvements.
I was telling them that the last time, and I didn't hear anything about it, so I was here, I guess, for the same thing.
Yeah, but the gravel driveway takes a waiver, a variance request, and
Yeah.
that, it wasn't advertised. You need to get in by Wednesday, so we can hear it planning commission in January.
Yeah, all we're dealing with tonight, sir, is
Yeah.
just what the planning commission forwarded to the council,
Yeah.
okay?
And we have to have certain notifications and publications before we can deal with that. So if you come by the office tomorrow and get with Sharon, she'll help you get that application together.
All right.
Okay?
All right, I think we were starting to vote.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey, Fugierus.
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
And the last item is another request for waiver of street improvements, drainage, curbs, gutters, and sidewalks in connection with Powers of Arkansas, large-scale development L 2272. This is a Kendrick Avenue improvements is one that the city's taking over, so they're dedicating the right-of-way, and they're asking for a waiver of street improvements.
Right.
For this one.
I'll make a motion to, second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. Option
Option
one,
one.
yeah. Any further comments or questions? Okay, Denise?
Williams,
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey, Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right, thank you, Patsy. Item 10, Finance Committee Chairman Jeff Watson. Jeff?
Yes, sir. Thank you. We have 3 items from the Finance Committee, all of them having to do with the police department, so I asked Chief to come forward and First one has to do with the acceptance of a grant for a crisis intervention specialist. I asked the chief to speak to that, but I'll go ahead and read the title. A resolution authorizing the Springdale Police Department to accept a grant for a crisis intervention specialist and amending the 2023 budget of the Springdale Police Department. This resolution was forwarded from the Finance Committee with a recommendation for approval.
Move the resolution pass. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions or comments? Okay, Denise?
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey,
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus,
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Carried 7-0.
The second item is, has to do with the purchase of a used unmarked vehicle. This title to this resolution is a resolution to amend the 2022 budget of the Springdale Police Department to authorize the purchase of a used unmarked vehicle.
Move the resolution pass.
This was forwarded with recommendation for approval.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other questions? Anyone? Okay, Denise?
Overton,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey,
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Carried 7-0.
And the final resolution has to do with purchase of additional police vehicles. Title to this resolution is a resolution to appropriate funds for the purchase of vehicles and associated vehicle equipment for the Springdale Police Department and to waive competitive bidding.
Move the resolution pass. Second.
Okay, any further comments or questions? Okay, Denise?
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey,
Yes,
Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton.
Yes.
Carried 7-0.
Thank you, Frank, for all your detailed input.
That's great. All right, we're at item 11, and I will turn this resolution over to our city attorney. Ernest?
Thank you. This is a resolution setting a hearing date on a petition to abandon a portion of a utility easement in the city of Springdale, Washington County, Arkansas. This would set the public hearing as required by statute for January 24th, 2023, and the city clerk will also publish notice of the date and time of the hearing as required by the statute as well.
Make a motion the resolution pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Any other comments? Questions for anyone? All right, Denise?
Bailey,
Yes, ma'am.
Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
The next item is an ordinance authorizing the city clerk to file a cleanup lien for the removal of overgrown brush and debris on property located within the city of Springdale, Arkansas, and declaring an emergency. Declaring an emergency, not an emergency clause. This is on properties located at 283 Aaron Place, 1205 Crutcher, which is hopefully the last one for this year at this address, and 309 Montrose.
Move ordinance pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Is there anyone here that needs to speak to any of those properties?
So 1205, I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
has 1205 Crutcher's been before us?
Yes, they've actually, believe it or not, paid the prior ones. The bank has prior liens.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, Denise?
Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Lawson.
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey,
Move the emergency clause be adopted.
Second.
Powell,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey, Fugierus.
Yes.
Both the ordinance emergency clause carry 7-0. Last item is an ordinance amending section 110-137 and section 110-138 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Springdale, Arkansas. This is the item that was on the last ordinance committee agenda as a discussion item and went to public hearing at Planning Commission on December 6th. So that is how it's on the agenda. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about that.
Move ordinance pass.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance. Any other comments or questions from anyone?
And it does not have an emergency clause.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Williams.
Yes.
Watson,
Yes.
Overton,
Yes.
Lawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey, Fugierus.
Yes.
Powell,
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right, thank you. Item 14, we 14, 15, and 16 we put on here so y'all could discuss how you want to schedule meetings over the next month and a half. It has been our practice, the council, to forego and cancel the second city council meeting of December. But I think we need to, do we need to take actual action to do that?
I'd like to.
Okay.
I move that we cancel the second, regularly scheduled council meeting for the month of December.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Williams? Watson?
Yes.
Overton?
Yes.
Lawson?
Yes, ma'am.
Bailey? Fugierus?
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Carry 7-0.
All right, thank you. If you got your calendar handy, if you haven't already looked at it, the first committee meeting, if we do it on the first Monday, would be on January 2nd. City Hall is closed that day, but we could certainly have our committee meeting on that day if you want. If we move it, we can't move it to the Tuesday very easily because we'll have Planning Commission on Tuesday the 3rd. The other option, if you don't want to have it on the 2nd, would be to move it to Wednesday the 4th. And we've done that a lot, but it's nice to avoid those Wednesday committee meetings if we can, because it really creates a short turnaround before the next council meeting and getting the agenda out at the end of the week. So would y'all be available and okay to meet on on Monday the 2nd?
I have a question.
Okay.
So we're on the 13th, and it's council. Next Monday's the 19th, that's committee.
We don't have,
We don't have that
because we're not having a second meeting, there's no need to have a committee
No.
meeting.
committee.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I don't
Yeah,
have a
I'm sorry. Yeah, but when I said next committee meeting, it's going to be the first one in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it now.
And keep in mind, that's the meeting that by statute, the council will organize any committees or anything, any changes you want to make in your processes or procedures. That would be the night to establish that.
Do you think we could get Jeff Parker to swear us in before that meeting?
Probably, he had
Making it-
offered,
Making it all in one January 2nd?
he had offered to do it sometime that day, so I don't think that would be a problem.
It'd be nice if he could do it right before this,
Yeah.
like at about 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
She asked him at dinner.
I like 12:01 on January the 1st.
My only hesitation is, I don't know how busy we're gonna be on the agenda for that night, but I hate to ask department heads or anybody else to come in on a day off.
Well, we would just require the ones that have items.
There's gonna be several items.
Yeah, there will be several items.
When do they return?
Well, they work the next day.
Tuesday, they would work Tuesday. We could wait and do it
Why
Wednesday.
can't we do it on the night of planning commission?
Well, it's just, we'd have to, somebody would get bumped to another room.
And they meet in here?
They meet in here and it's usually
We'd have to
pretty full.
If you're gonna change it, we've gotta know, because we published notices this weekend. Because all of the applications are due tomorrow. They go in Sunday's paper to be here on January 1st.
Could we not meet up there in that other, where we did the?
I guess we could. I mean, it's, a few of us go to planning commission meetings, but,
I don't know that.
Okay.
Right now, we don't have an extremely long agenda, but we still get applications for conditional uses and zoning tomorrow, so I don't really know how long the agenda is until tomorrow.
it causes planning and engineering especially to have to go back and forth between meetings. Maybe they could do that, some of them, but
If you're asking me to do two things on Tuesday night, instead of coming in on Monday night, I'd rather do two things on Tuesday night.
And can we set up recording in that other room?
We've done it before.
Yeah.
For budget.
I know we don't like to do it, Mayor, but
I'd move for the 3rd.
okay, Tuesday night, the 3rd.
Do you want to get sworn in then, or you want to
Yes.
get, okay.
No, I want it on January the 1st, 12:01.
Well, then you make an appointment with him to
I will, I'll go to his house and get him out of bed. He'll be in bed.
I'd say, just on this special occasion that we should do it.
Third.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's all right. I like to go to planning commission, but you know, it's your call.
Well, you don't have
It's
to
your
be
call.
council mayor.
Yeah,
We can get along without
yeah,
you.
it's your
It's
call.
our committee.
Mhm. Just a voice vote? Okay, move it, the first committee meeting in January would be on Tuesday, the 3rd, January
And we'll
3rd.
meet up there in that other room.
Yeah, we'll meet in the tactical training. Is that tactical training?
Yes.
Yeah, room, and,
Could you make it 6:30 instead of 5:30, and planning commission might be done by then?
No, no, I mean, it's our 5:30. You stick to planning, we'll stick to council.
5, I was just trying to get you.
I understand.
We're gonna be at 5.
We take priority, so we'll stay at 5:30.
okay,
Well, we could do 6.
can.
5:45.
Well, it's usually 5:30. It might be confusing.
All right, 5:30.
Y'all could start with your organization and we could put that first on the agenda and that might help the planning commission get a little further along. But anyway, that's the motion and the second. All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, same sign. And then the next one might be a little easier, on the date, second committee meeting. That is on, Martin Luther King Day. But we could move that one to the Tuesday and still meet in here because that's a planning commission work session. Y'all could do a work session in another place. Yeah. So if y'all wanted to move it to, if you want to move that one to a Tuesday, you can do that without a real conflict with planning. You can do it in here.
Okay. Do that on the 17th?
Is that 17th? Okay, is that a motion?
Yep.
And a second? Yep, was a second. All those in favor, please say aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, good deal. Any comments from council members? City attorney?
No.
I don't want to belabor it, Brian, but know that the council and the city have been praying for you and your family. And I know you got a couple of your family members here tonight and services are later this week. Tomorrow. Okay. All right. Well, y'all be careful.
Mayor.
And you'll continue to have, we'll have you in our prayers, you and your family. All right.
Mayor, I
Yes.
was also going to say, some of y'all might remember the gentleman working on this facility, Brett Couples, architect, and we got word Sunday, I think, that he had passed away. He was young, unexpected, and so we're going to have different people involved on this phase 2 now. So just want to make y'all aware of that. I knew some of y'all might have known him.
Right. Thank you, Colby.
Hey, Mayor, the second meeting, just FYI, there's not a problem with that. I just need to make sure nobody comes in here early because we're going to have promotion assessments starting that day, the whole week. And we won't be done till 5 o'clock, so there will be people in here being assessed for the promotion test.
Okay.
Outside this room and across the way, so we'll need to keep that door locked till 5 o'clock.
But we can get in here after 5.
We can get in here after 5, it won't be a problem. We'll be done by
Okay.
5 o'clock.
All right. Thanks for the heads up. All right. We're adjourned.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody.